What is up everyone, my name is Patra and welcome back to my channel where we talk about self-awareness topics. In today's video, I am going to talk about a topic that I got over on my Instagram, and that is how to deal with annoying people. It's not going to be a horrifying experience, but it might challenge your patience and temperament. People often feel pressure when they are annoyed by someone's behavior, and that's because they don't want to be seen as cruel or rude. But there's a fine line between lending a sympathetic ear and getting sucked into a negative emotional spiral. Some people are actually blissfully unaware of the negative impact that they have on those around them, while others seem to derive satisfaction from creating chaos and just pushing everyone's buttons. Either way, they both have to be dealt with, and calling them out might actually seem like the most satisfying method, but it is not the most productive, and it usually just never works out in any way. Another thing that I wanted to put some light on before starting this video is that everyone's definition of annoying or irritating is a uniquely personal thing. What is challenging to me might be a breeze to you, so in order to successfully deal with annoying people, understanding your personality and preferences can actually help you recognize the types of people and situations that annoy you. And with that in mind, let's dive into the video. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that will help you deal with that person that has been annoying you for a long time. Number one is find out your triggers. You can't treat what you can't see. Is that relevant to this topic? These are things that annoy you. Some people are annoyed by complainers, by people who are time evading, by people who don't respect boundaries. The list goes on. Ultimately, knowing your triggers helps you be able to maintain an emotional distance when you recognize that your buttons are starting to be pushed. And the fact that we are an ever-evolving species means that sometimes you will find yourself in situations where you will need to rethink, regroup, and choose the best way forward, and that's completely okay. You shouldn't be afraid to buy yourself some time to do so. Number two, deep breathing. Hit the pause button and redirect your focus to your breath, your hands, your feet. If you feel your teeth clenching, redirect it right to that and ask yourself this question: is this emotion doing me any good? No. Besides that, deep breathing triggers something at the bottom of your spine called the vagus nerve, and that sends neurotransmitters to your brain that calm you down. Number three, take care of yourself. Annoying people are really just secondhand stress. A tired mind and body is one that is not able to think clearly, and it is hard to stay calm when you are living in a mental fog. We can only be able to deal with anyone really when we are well rested and taken care of, and there are plenty of activities you can do to achieve this. Number four, set boundaries. If you find it difficult to be around the annoying person often, then you may need to set boundaries so you don't end up getting too emotionally involved. Once you've found out your triggers and also the people who keep pressing them, you will begin to find their behaviors predictable, and that will help you to be able to think logically where and when you can tolerate them and where you cannot. If you haven't already, please check out my video on how to set the right boundaries without causing strains to your relationships. Tip number five, repeat a word in your mind to engage your subconscious mind. When you're dealing with someone who is behaving unreasonably, the part of your brain that deals with emotions of fear, anger, sorrow is activated, and when it is, your body goes into fight or flight mode. This part cannot distinguish between a customer yelling at you and a vicious dog that is about to attack you. That is why it is better to engage your subconscious mind when you start feeling tense. What I usually repeat to myself is that it's okay, I'm calm. It's okay, I'm calm. Some people use one word to get through those tense minutes, but when you find a word that works for you, annoying people and situations become so much more manageable. Tip number six, detachment. Learning the art of separating yourself from annoying situations is priceless. This is great for situations like family gatherings or social situations where you cannot excuse yourself. Detachment can involve activities like observing your mind, being intentional about staying objective, remembering that you are more than this, you're above that. The ability to detach emotionally from annoying situations and annoying people is going to make you better at living. And lastly, manage your non-verbal behavior. Rolling your eyes, making an ugly face when you turn away, looking unbothered, muttering under your breath, is just sparking fire, but with your gestures. And somehow when they get a gist of this kind of behavior, they turn out to be more difficult and just plain annoying. Body language does wonders, both positively and the opposite. Realize that you're not a mind reader. You don't know why the person is doing what they are doing. Stop creating stories in your head as to why. For example, they're always trying to get my attention and that annoys me. Or it's so annoying that I'm always big to do everything. Look, you don't know any of these things for certain, and they will only make you angrier. And at the end of the day, you can't expect people to walk at the same pace as you do. You can't expect them to speak to you when you don't wish to be spoken to. Your nonverbal cues, or read your mind. Sometimes people, and by people I mean I used to be one of them, have this weird tendency of getting annoyed for the sake of seeing how far someone can push them, so that they can be able to justify or validate their old actions or grudges. Ultimately, you can't control other people. You can only control how you respond to them, always remembering to remain positive, be as non-judgmental as possible, having patience with yourself as much as with the other person, some discipline to help you stay on the same page, and taking the focus away from what makes it so hard to get along with them in the first place.